Going back to that stat that I started the show with, that 70% of organizations still rely on spreadsheets for compensation planning, creating revenue forecasts and incentive plans. In the year 2024, we're still using spreadsheets for this. What's going on here? And even if it's obvious, why is this not a good thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, how companies conceive of the problem space that they're thinking about when they think about compensation. I think a lot of companies, that aren't maybe as far along on the maturity cycle, when they think of sales comp, they think of the problem a bit more narrowly to be the actual calculation of compensation. And when you think about it in that way, spreadsheets frankly seem to be adequate because spreadsheets can run calculations.
Right.
But I think the reality is that there's so much more to compensation when it comes to thinking about how you incentivize sales reps to engage in the behaviors and the strategies that you need to deliver on a company's objectives. We talk to customers a lot about the power of incentives in, driving companies to hit their objectives. And when you think about it that way, kind of much more broadly beyond just calculations, it becomes pretty obvious that spreadsheets are pretty woefully inadequate for that purpose.
Yeah, yeah. So also, according to the research, 63% of respondents are planning for AE attrition rates between 10 and 40%. What does this tell you about the state of the industry and particularly in terms of compensation?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that stat too. I think what it tells us is we are not doing a very good job as an industry setting sales reps up for success.
Yeah.
I think from our perspective, supporting sales reps requires companies to think, holistically, about incentives, but also about all of the other elements necessary to set the context and the supporting infrastructure, if you will, for sales reps to be successful. We think about that sort of as three parts. The one part is being able to plan for your sales teams and using technologies so you can, rigorously determine how to divide up territories, allocate quotas against those territories, and determine how many sales reps you need to cover those territories, right? If the planning piece isn't done well, you end up with a sales team that has, frankly, their hands tied behind their backs a bit when they're doing battle in the marketplace. The second piece is obviously creating that incentive system that ties the needed behaviors from the reps to the objectives in that plan. And again, investing in technology there makes that process much more seamless. And it's critical in making sure those incentives are appropriately implemented and utilized in the day-to-day activities of the reps. And then the third thing we think about is how do you provide the reps and the managers with tools that they can use to manage their business on a day-to-day basis, especially kind of activities as it relates to managing their pipeline and forecasts and understanding which deals are likely to close and what steps are needed to close those deals. So we, advocate for a more holistic view, compensation being a very important part of that. But it's that holistic view that I think would allow those attrition rates to be a bit lower, much lower probably, because the reps will be set up for success.
Yeah, yeah. And those attrition rates, I mean, there's